You gonna say it with me?
No.
Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel. I got Aussie here for a second, you guys go.
Goodbye.
That's as much as you'll get. So yeah, hi you guys, hope you guys are well. Get nice and comfy. So what I'm going to do is, I think this video might be quite a long one. I mean, you guys obviously will tell that from watching this, but I'm going to put timestamps in the description, so just so that you know that if you're interested in a specific part of it, you don't have to watch the whole video. Obviously this is going to be my weekly reads, my booker rankings, and a TBR for Straya September and also Shorty September. So yeah, all of those things will be timestamped in the description, plus like probably a little natter at the end, no doubt, because it's me. So yeah, if you're not interested in one bit, you want to just skip to the other bit, go ahead. Just look in the description. All right. So as always, I'm going to start with the books. I'll start with the non-booker books that I've finished and have currently reading. But the first book that I finished last week was one I'd sort of been working my way through gradually anyway. It's a non-fiction called All the Houses We've Ever Lived In, Finding Home in a System That Fails Us, and this is by Kieran Yates. Kieran is a journalist and she has Asian parents, and she grew up in a single parent family, and so also, the whole premise of this book is that by the age of 25 Kieran had lived in over 20 homes. This book chronicles all of that, and also it says a lot about it talks. I'm going to look at my notes here because Charlie brain. It basically talks about what makes a home a home, the objects that we have in them and why they mean so much, family memories, and what objects say about us, whether that's reflecting our identities or reminding us and linking us to time and place. It also talks about marginalised communities and the barriers they have to housing, the difference between social housing and affordable housing. It talks about Grenfell, so content warnings for that. It also talks about how we bring the homes from our past with us in our hearts, and as we move from like physical space to physical space, which I just thought was super interesting. And this book just has so much heart in it. It does, obviously there's so many other things within the pages of this book. I listened to this on audio on Scribd, so if you have Scribd, it's one that you can check out. And it was an easy 5-star read for me. This will be easily one up there in my favourite books of the year. It's just one of the best non-fictions I've ever listened to. Being honest, I feel very gushy about it. I just think there's so much, I feel like every single reader, I feel like there's something sort of you can connect with. So yeah, definitely check it out. So yeah, highly recommend it. So that was a strong start to like the books I've finished. And then in terms of other non-booker books that I am reading, this is one that I've picked up in between my booker books. It's Gwen and Arnott Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher, and can you see the spray editors? I love the pink spray editors. And this is just like a queer YA kind of romance, and I think obviously we follow Gwen and Art are like destined for each other. They're like, since they were like little kids, they've been the parents have sort of arranged their marriage together, but they don't feel like that. They've never felt like that. And they've got other people that they're more interested in. It's just like a fun book, and this is like the perfect comfort read to read in between all the heavy booker books that I've been reading and all the other heavy books I'm reading. I'm only quite early doors with it. I'm probably like maybe 50 or 60 pages in. I'm 59 pages in, and I'm taking my time with it, even though I feel like I really want to get it done before I start. I've got like a massive, as you will see soon, TBR for the month, or pile of possibilities for the month. So yeah, I do want to get this finished maybe this weekend, but yeah, this is just so much fun, and yeah, perfect structure. So yeah, that's that. Those are all the non-bookery books that I have read. Then I'm going to get on to the booker books that I have finished since the last time I've spoken to you, which I finished 2 and I've started 1. So yeah. So the next book that I finished was All the Little Bird Hearts by Viktoria Lloyd Barlow, and in this book we follow Sunday Forrester and her daughter Dolly, and they are Sunday is a neurodivergent mum. She is autistic, and she has a very rigid routine in terms of the foods that she eats. She has particularly this book sort of like says about her liking white foods, etc., and also like there's so many other things as well. So yeah, and then but in this book we follow her sort of relationship she develops with the local neighbours, Vita and Rollo, and right, the things I'm going to say about this, right, so I took a little bit of a while to get into this book, being honest. I don't think that the plot is like super wow, and I found it, like, in terms of that, I did find it, like, the plot I think is quite predictable, being honest. But the thing that I love about this book, and I'm talking like, so as I read the second half in like a bigger sitting and I sat with it and I was listening to it and I thought about it a lot more, the thing that really stands out to me within the pages of this book is what Viktoria Lloyd Barlow does and talks about in terms of the lead character and her like all the stuff. There's like all these little subtle things, how the character, like, to do with the main character and being neurodivergent, and also the ableism that she's constantly facing. And I just thought those elements were handled just so well. And aside from all of the, like I said, the plot, which I liked, I thought the plot was good, it was interesting. The main hook was like just how well it was done in terms of the representation, like yeah, and I feel like I just would really want to see this book shortlisted. So is this the best book I've ever listened to? No, probably not. But do I want to see it shortlisted? Yes I do, because I don't think there's many adult fiction books that tackle those themes as well as what I feel like this book did. And it's not something, especially in terms of book prizes, I don't think it's something that gets highlighted enough. So yeah, I just think, yeah, I feel like this author is one to watch for me, and it's, yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to read more books as they come out by this author. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Right, the next book I read was, I literally read this. So I started it I think last time I spoke to you guys, I'd read one chapter, and then basically over the weekend, it was either Saturday or the Sunday over the bank holiday, I think it was the Saturday, it was a rainy day and we were just like having some chill time, and I basically sat down and read the rest of this book in that day. Prophet Song by Lynch, sorry, I didn't say. And so in this book we follow Eilish, and it's basically Eilish is doing everything she can to keep her family together under these extreme circumstances, and everything around her is just slowly like crumbling, both like emotionally and physically, like literally it's just all crumbling and falling apart. And it's just her like struggle to keep everything together and do everything she can. And Eilish is such a strong character. There is so much heart within this book, and it's just very heartbreaking. But the plot is very I feel like it's very pacey. It's a page turner, obviously, as you know, because I gobbled through it in like a day. But there's also something about this that felt very cinematic. If you've read this, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because yeah, this just really got to me. It broke my heart. It made me, honestly, I didn't actually cry, but I felt close to it. And yeah, I just love this book. And I feel like it's definitely going to be, I feel like it could be my favourites of the year so far. It's not my favourite book of the year, but it's definitely will be in my favourites, because yeah, this is just such a strong book. And Lynch has written other books, so I can't wait to go back to his other previous works. So yeah, definitely one of my favourites of the list. So yeah, obviously you'll see where I rank it. The next book that I've started, which again I'm listening to this on audio, and then also I've got the book from the library, because this is The Beesting by Paul Murray. Being honest with you, so I've listened, so where am I? I'm nearly 100 pages into this. Well, I'm 100 pages. I'm 137 pages into this. And this book is like divided into sections. I think it's like 4 or 5 sections. So in this book we follow the Barnes family, and basically each section is about sort of like you're following, I'm guessing, obviously I haven't read each section, but I'm guessing we're going to follow each like part of the family through those sections, and maybe the last section I think is slightly different, I think, from what I've heard people say. Yeah, So my first impressions of this is the first section I listened to, because I was listening to it on audio, and that was when I wasn't as much reading the physical copy. I tried to read this a few days ago, and the first section, it was kind of driving me crazy. Like I didn't feel like I was getting on with it as well. I feel like the first section, the characters that you're following, they're these teenage girls, and they were just when I first tried to listen to it, it was kind of driving me crazy. But then I was like speaking to Charlie, and he was like, I feel like I needed to then maybe, because again, the audiobook chapters of this and the actual physical chapters of this are very, very long. So I feel like it's something you need to really, like, again, take your time with. Kind of, you can't rush through this as much. I feel like each section you need to give it the space that it needs. So I then chose yesterday, because it was the beginning of the week I started it. I chose yesterday to go back and restart it again, even though I'd only like read one section, or nearly finished one section. And I think that's actually benefited me because it's just changed how I'm reading it. And I literally was just, I had the headphones in, I've got the physical book in front of me when I'm doing it, and that, I feel like, yeah, again, it's just slowing you down, not feeling like, because with the book of books, it's so easy to just go from one to one, like to hop, skip and jump all the way through and sort of gallop your way, and you get carried up. The excitement for all of these books just builds and builds and builds, and the nearer you get to finishing a long list, you guys all know, as you read long lists, if you guys read long lists or whatever, yeah, it just, you feel like it almost like you get carried away. So yeah, I feel like this warrants a different pace. So again, yeah, I'm liking it. I feel like the second section of this that I've been listening to is a lot better, and with the first section, obviously, like I said, the first section was following like these teenage girls, Cath from the family. The second section we're following PJ, who I just really care about, and I'm like, I feel I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I feel a little bit like anxious in this section a little bit more, and yeah, but I'm just like hoping for really good things for him, because I just like it's always good when you sort of fall in love with characters. And I feel like, yeah, little PJ, I just want to like put him in my pocket and make sure he's okay. So, yeah, I feel like this actually has potential, especially even this morning, listening to even more of it. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. You'll see if I rank it. So yeah, those are all the book of books that I've been finishing, that I finished, / I'm currently reading. So what I'll do now is I will go through the rankings of books that I've read. There is one, as I am going to talk to you through the list, that I haven't actually mentioned that I got to and tried, but I'll mention that now. So, and it is in fact, so in at number 10 is Western Lane. This is one I tried, I bought this on audiobook, and this one tackles sport and grief. This is kind of what the premise says. It's a very, very short one. The audiobook's 4 hours, and I think the physical book's like less than 150 pages, I believe, or like 160 pages, something like that. So I didn't really, from the offset, I was kind of hateful about it, but I didn't know exactly. But yeah, this one, I just tried the audiobook of it, and for some reason I couldn't connect to anything. I didn't feel like I was connecting to the characters. I didn't feel interested in the plot. So I was just like, do you know what? No, it's just not working for me. And what I think I might do, so this is like a DNF for now kind of thing. I'm putting it at number 10 because I obviously have tried it, but I've requested it from the library, a physical copy, because I feel like maybe if I read the physical copy, I might have a different experience. I want to give it as much of a try as I can. So, and as the library has it, I feel like it's worth that. So yeah, it's not at number 10 for now. It might change. And then in at number 9 is Pearl, by Sean Hughes. Then you guys know my feelings about that. Number 8 is In Ascension by Martin McInnes. Then we've got in at number 7 is Old God's Time by Sebastian Barry. In at number 6 is If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffery. Then we've got in at number 5, I've got The Beesting by Paul Murray. I'm still quite early with this, so I am hesitant to put it higher than that for now, but it is a really good book and I am enjoying it. So and I am starting to feel like I'm connecting with it much more. This might go up, as you will see, because sometimes with the books, as you will see in a minute, the rankings do change. So yeah, I'm excited to watch out for what this does once I finish it. Then in at number 4, which might be a shock to some of you guys, is The House of Doors by Chandran. This has been like my number 1 spot for like the longest time, and I was looking at my Storygraph ratings. I'm on Storygraph, you can follow me, maybe I'll put my where to follow me on Storygraph in the description. And as I was looking at my ratings of All the Little Bird Hearts and also Study for Obedience, I'd actually gave those 2 books more stars than I'd given The House of Doors, so therefore in my rankings it should really reflect that. I do think that Tan Tuan Eng is potentially, especially in terms of some of the, I feel like his writing is probably a lot stronger, especially than like the one I'm about to mention next. But I just think books, I don't rate books like that. I rate books with my heart, so therefore The House of Doors, that's why it's number 4. That's a long explanation, I'm sorry. Then in at number 3 is All the Little Bird Hearts by Viktoria, Lloyd, Barlow. As I said, I'm not sure whether this is like the best book ever written or outstanding in plot. I feel like House of Doors maybe does that better in some ways, but for me, I just connected so much with All the Little Bird Hearts and the characters within it, and the themes within it I feel like really hit hard for me. So that's why I've rated it and put it in number 3. And in the end, so then we've got Study for Obedience, which you guys know I blooming loved this book. It really surprised me. It really just kind of came out of nowhere for me, and yeah, number 2. Then obviously in at number 1 is Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This is my number 1 by like a strong metric mile. Like, I proper love this book. It's just outstanding. Like, I just feel like it's just so cleverly done, and it was such a page turner for me. And it's not a tiny book. It's like, I think it's like 300 pages or something. And yeah, it's just, just really had an impact on me. I did feel quite bereft when I finished it, and I did feel like I needed to head to the Disney Channel when I'd finished it, and that's I think why I ended up picking up this little fluffy book. But yeah, I don't feel like any of the books ahead of me will beat this. I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because it's always good to be surprised, but yeah, Prophet Song is a metric mile above all of the other Booker books currently, even though Study for Obedience, like I said, I loved. Yeah, so those are all my updated Booker rankings. I'm not sure which books I will be heading to next in terms of that. Obviously, I've got one of them, A Spell of Good Things, behind me on the shelves, which I'm excited to get to eventually, and some other things. But yeah, let me know which Booker books you're currently reading. Let me know what your faves are. You can tell me your rankings in the comments as well. That's always exciting to see. So, right, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about before I get into like TBRs and other things is I'm going to show you one that you guys know that I'm reading in September. For Secret September, I am rereading The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by BookTube's Katie Lumsden. And I'm so excited to reread this. I read this a couple of months ago and just adored it, and it jumped into my favourites of the year pretty soon after. And yeah, I'm going to be reading this with a bunch of people on Voxer. So this, as you guys are watching this, that would have already been set up. I'm excited to be reading this weekly. We're reading like a volume a week, I think. And the last week of September, reading 2 volumes. But the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is Straya September, which is a readathon hosted by the lovely Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. And this is to sort of celebrate books by Australian authors. Yeah, so I'm super excited. I used to read a lot more Australian fiction than I currently feel like I do. Obviously I follow Scott, but there was a few other booktubers that I used to watch like religiously. I used to watch Jacqueline from 6 Minutes For Me. Obviously I still follow Jacqueline on Instagram, and then lovely Julia from Julia's Book Time. They don't make videos anymore, but I used to always be adding like a zillion books from my TBR because of them. So yeah, I feel like I need. So if you guys have got any other Australian booktubers you want to recommend me, yeah, write them in the description, because I always want to follow new booktubers, and I feel like that does help automatically diversify your reading, doesn't it? Scott has come up with a load of prompts, so I'm going to go through them and then show you the books. So he's got 2 options. It's got Beck and Willis, do whatever you want, which is option 1. Option 2 is the one with the prompts. So obviously I'm going to head to the one with the prompts. I've got a pile of possibilities right in front of me. We've got read a book by an Australian author. Well, all the books I've got here are by Australian authors. So I'll show you like them in a second. Then we've got read a book by an Indigenous author. So my choice for that, I've got I'll put a picture on screen. I've got this on, I had this on my Kindle again from years ago that I think I may have started it, but then I sort of soft DNF'd it. I don't know why. I still want to be interested to retry it and see whether I connect with it slightly better. And that is Where the Fruit Falls by Kieran Wyld. Picture on screen. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't really remember a whole lot about this. I feel like, is it a generational family story? I don't know. I can't remember. It's a little while ago with that one. So prompt 3 is in an immigrant book, read a book by an immigrant or the family of an immigrant. So for this prompt I picked Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens by Shankari Chandran. This is available on Scribd. It recently won the Mars Franklin Award, which is an Australian book prize. So even though the cover looks very light and fluffy, I believe this book to be very dark and hard hitting and raw. But it's got like, I think it's like about a family, which obviously books about families, you know, is always going to be like a buzzword for me. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use for that prompt. Prompt 4 is read a book by an author from a state or a territory you haven't read from, or use this as, I think it's meant to be like, or use it as a free space or something like that. I think that's what someone said. So that's what I will probably do. So I'll show you then what I've got. So I've also got But the Girl by Jessica Zhan May Yu. I feel like this is like a sort of campus kind of novel, and we follow a girl was born on the very day her parents and grandmother immigrated from Malaysia to Australia. The story goes that her mother held on tight to her in her pelvic muscles in an effort to gift her to the privilege of an Australian passport. But it's hard to be the embodiment of all your family's hopes and dreams, especially in a country that's hostile to your very existence. So yeah, this probably could fit the immigrant category as well. But yeah, I know that she wins a scholarship. It says she wins a scholarship, so I think it's to do with that. So yeah, this is one I picked up in my London bookshop crawl. This is one that the lovely Kit thrust into my hands when we were in London Review of Bookshop. So thank you, Kit. So that then. I've got the other pile of possibilities that I've got, because I might want to reread Flames by Robbie Arnott. I've read this like maybe 2 or 3 times already. I love this book. I love this book so much. And yeah, this is sort of magical realism, which I'm guessing probably like Scott. I'm guessing this is not like a Scott book at all. But yeah, I'm super excited to read it. So we'll see. This is definitely a book hug, because yeah, I love this book. Then another possibility is I've seen that this is available on Scribd. The Rain Heron by Robbie Arnott, again another Robbie Arnott book, and because like there's an audio book, I thought, well, that might be another option because I haven't listened to this book before. So yeah, and this is just, I love this cover. I mean, honestly, stunning. Magical realism again, but also talking about like sort of like Robbie Arnott writes books about like the environment and stuff as well, so with those strong messages. So if you haven't read any Robbie Arnott, those are the 2 I'd recommend. I did read Limberlost fairly recently and didn't get on with it, and I was really gutted. But yeah, those 2 are strong books to head to if you fancy anything like that. I've got this book that's been on my shelves for quite a while, and as you can see, I got to like the halfway point and then DNF'd it. But I want to go back and restart it, because you never know, like I feel like I DNF'd it quite a few years ago and I just haven't ever got back to it. This is very distracting, sorry. And I think it's like, is it like a YA kind of book, I think. It says, Dylan and her adored French mother dream of one day sailing across the ocean to France, Paris. Dylan dreams is a place where her black skin won't make her stand out, and a place where she might feel like she belongs. But when she loses her mother in a freak accident, Dylan finds herself on a very different journey, a road trip across the outback Australia in the care of her mother's grieving boyfriend Pat. See, that sounds like something I would like. So I don't know what happened with me DNFing it. I cannot remember. So yeah, I definitely, and if I read this, this is like clearing another book from my shelves. The next book is one I picked up fairly recently in the charity shop for like £2, and it's like a beautiful hardcover, The Weekend by Charlotte Wood. This is like about a group of friends, I think it's like a group of 4 friends, and one of them at the beginning of the book you find has passed away, and she was meant to have been like the glue of the group, and it's them sort of, I guess it's, I don't know much more than that. I think there may be a mystery in it. I'm not, so maybe it's a little bit darker than it kind of looks again on the cover. I don't know. So that's one of my options. There's also on Scribd has All the Shimmering Skies by Trent Dalton, and also Love Stories by Trent Dalton. Love Stories is a non-fiction, so that might be a good option because I want to read more non-fiction this year. I feel like that's the one I'm most drawn to out of those two. I did love Boy Swallows Universe, but it's like nearly 600 pages, so I don't know whether rereading that would be necessarily the best use of my time in this month, so we shall see. The next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is another readathon that I potentially will be taking part in. Well, I will be taking part in. I want to read at least a couple of books. I've got a massive pile of possibilities on my shelves, which I will talk to you through. This is a Shorty September, which is being hosted by Heather from Soggy Expat Book Nerd, and then also the lovely Zhan and Bert, but from Pastory Time. So I'm going to go through, I've written down the prompts and then the books that I will fit in for those prompts. I've got Pedro Pascal shorts, An Unexpected Purchase. So for this I've got But the Girl. I think this is like, so the whole idea of this readathon is to read like books like 200 pages or less, and this is 200 pages or less. This book is like 213 pages, so I feel like I could still count this. So I think some people are saying like maybe 250 pages or less still counts. So otherwise this would tick for Straya September and also Shorty September. So yeah, this will be one that I head to first probably. Then we've got Dolphin Shorts, a book with water on the cover. So for that I have got Sonnets for Albert by Anthony Joseph. Anthony Joseph is a Trinidadian author, I believe. And as you can see, I feel like, yeah, there's water, there's the ocean. So that will count. Then we've got Shorty Shorts, a book from the 70s or 80s. So for that I have got, my option will be Tales of the City by Armistead. Again, this is one that's been sitting on my shelves for a really long time, and I think this may even be on my read or unhaul project, potentially, or one of the books that I put on one of my TBRs at the beginning of the year. So yeah, and I think this is on Scribd, the audiobook. So, and someone said that that's a really good audiobook. So yeah, it'd be good if I could get to that. Then we've got Half and Half Shorts, read a book, then watch the movie. So for this is another book that is on my read or unhaul project / one of the TBRs from the beginning of the year, which is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. And this is obviously the classic, and what I would really love to do, which would give me the impetus to read this finally, would be to read it and then watch the BBC like show up adaptation, because I have already watched this, and it stars David Tennant and a whole host of other actors, which I loved. So yeah, maybe I should read this and then rewatch that as like my treat. Then we've got Hoochie Daddy Shorts, a spicy read or a reeling, gossipy biography kind of thing. So for this book I have picked, I don't really know whether this 100% does fit it, but I mean, it's Limbic by Peter Scapello. It's very sort of like kind of intimate cover, I feel. And on the back, the description of it says, Limbic is Peter Scapello's glittering ode to sex, intimacy and queer discovery, taking us on slippery nights out filled by chemsex, on drunken lads' holidays, and into the quiet violence of small domestic moments. There is a world where tracksuits hide queer desire, where the shame masks vulnerability, and where wallets hide wraps of crystal meth. And yeah, so, and I know this is one of Bob the Booker's like favourites, and also Jen the librarian's favourites. So yeah, yeah, I can't, and Charlie's as well. I can't wait to read this. It's poetry. So yeah, this would be quite an easy one to tick off. Then we've got Lodge Shorts, a book you bought to be because you're trying to be cool. I don't have any books that I've bought to try and be cool. Let me see. I don't buy books to try and be cool. As you can tell, I'm probably like the most uncool person ever, and my children will attest to that fact. I don't know. I know that this one look at that. That's so funny, the little frog popped up. I'm gonna say this is not to try and be cool, but this is like, I know someone else had said it, that because obviously when I've been watching these TBRs, the way people have said it is one that like someone's influenced you. So the lovely Jem and Alice both freaking love this. Well, this is a very brutal book. It's S by Slavenka Drakulik. So yeah, this, if I read this, I would impress Jem and Alice by the fact that I've read a book they love. I don't know, can I say that? I don't know, I'm gonna say that. And then we've got Denim Shorts, which is a modern classic. I've got 3 options for this, which I have got Emily Dickinson's Selected Poems, again one I think I have read some of these. Yeah, so select that, and I love this cover so much. It's like a Barnes and Noble special edition, which is super gorgeous. Then I've also got Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, which everyone kind of knows. This is one I picked up recently. I really wanted to read some more James Baldwin. I read one last October, and I picked this up fairly recently, and it's one that loads of people love, so that could be a really good option. And also Cannery Row by John Steinbeck, which I know is one that the lovely Brian from Bookish completely, I think this is one of the ones of John Steinbeck's he actually likes, because I don't think he likes that many John Steinbecks, but he likes this one. It's very, very short. It's 137 pages. So those are my options for that. Then we've got Mum Shorts, which is a comfort read. I've got a couple of options for that, which I've got By Ash, Oak and Thorn by Melissa Harrison. I'll put the real cover on screen of that over it. And then another option I've got for this is Tamarind and the Star of Ishtar by Jasmine Beland, which I have read one of her other books and I loved, and this is one that Emily's lent me. So, yeah. And this one, sorry, Jack from Spread Book Joy gave me this recently. So those are 2 ones that could be comfort reads. Then we've got Ripped Shorts, read a thriller / slasher. I don't have anything for that, but you know. Then we've got Elizabethan Shorts, a historical read. So I've got, for this, I've got Muriel Sparks, The Girl of Slender Means, and then Leda Hazen Shorts, a translated book. So I've got 3 options for this, which are, I've got Palomar by Italo Calvino, which that one. Then I've also got Days at the Murasaki Bookshop, which I might be reading with Gareth, whose channel I'll link in the description. And then also I've got Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. Last year I watched Kieran from KD Books did like a book review of this, and I think it was last year, might be this year, I don't know. He was raving about it. I think it was last year. So it made me want to pick it up. So yeah, this is what this is. Yeah. I have got another book here. I've got another book here that I haven't included in any prompts. That I think this is on one of my children's shelves that I thought like might be an interesting book to read. It's 11 by Tom Rogers. I think it's chronicling obviously 9/11. It says Alex Douglas always wanted to be a hero, but nothing heroic ever happened to Alex. Nothing, that is, until his 11th birthday. Then everything changed. When Alex rescues a stray dog as his birthday gift to himself, he doesn't think life can get much better. And Radar, his new dog, pretty much feels the same way. But this day has bigger things in store for both of them. So yeah, I think this is like obviously content warnings for 9/11. So and I think it's like a middle grade book about it. So yeah, might be an interesting one to read, although obviously much more hard-hitting being in September. But yeah. So yeah, those are all my pile of possibilities. Are you joining in for either of those readathons? Let me know what you're reading. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the chat short now. So yeah, let me know how you are. Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been reading. Yeah, take care and sending you guys lots of love. Goodbye.